Good morning, my fellow yoga travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, live the life we love. Today's Thursday, it's story day. I'm working on how to be an elder, honoring Clarissa Pinkola Estes' teaching. And then I'm going on the road tomorrow, so let's be the last tape for a little bit. You can always go to my website and check out all the other stuff, and that way have your fill of my Dharma sermonettes. All right, so will you play your part? Will you hear the call? That's the first thing as an elder. You just step into your power as an older person. Question authority as an older person, just like you did when you were 12. Keep asking, is this good for me? And if it's not, don't do it. Continue to balance standing on that inviolate ground of being both tough and delicate. And following other people makes us small, it cripples us. So I'm not going to resign myself into being walking dead. I'm going to keep myself alive. When I meet people, I look for the triage: who's hurting the most, what needs to be done, how can I help them? And then, really important, is continue to let go of any kind of grudge, cancel every debt I have. I don't want to be dragged on in my life, holding on to whatever negative experience I've had and milking it. If there's anything good, can something good come out of that? If so, I'm going to cast that into the world in a beautiful way, in a new light. And I'm going to give up what they call malocho, that squinty eye where everything you see is bad. Not going to do that. And instead, I'm going to hold the circle of green, as they say, to be healed. Spend time in nature. Let the instinctive forces work through me so I can live my life with a certain kind of intuition and rhythm that's in touch with what's natural. All right, the companions, my story. Once there was a wicked, wicked, evil witch who would like nothing better than to kill all humanity. And the way she thought she would do it is offering her beautiful daughter, the most beautiful woman in the world, if someone could accomplish three tasks. If they couldn't, their heads will roll. And her castle wall was filled with heads impaled on it. Now, a certain prince heard of this beautiful maiden and immediately fell in love with the fantasy of wanting to go and rescue her and marry her. But his father, the king, didn't want that to happen. He said, I can't take the chance. You're going to inherit the kingdom. And you know that people who don't solve this riddle, they get killed. You can't go. Well, the moment he wasn't allowed by the king to go on his mission, he fell into the sickbed. For 7 years, the king tried to heal him with every resource he had available. Nothing would work. Finally, the king realized he was sick at heart. So he told his son, I give you permission to go on your mission. And as soon as you get permission to go on your mission, there's an instant healing. He jumped up out of the bed, and this is where life is. If you stay in your own sick room, you definitely die. If you get on the road, you may face death, but there's a chance you might live. So what do? Stay and die, or go and take your chances? Off he went on the road. And as he's walking a long way or a short way or whatever time it takes in the story, he came upon what he thought was like a mini mountain, a huge mound, but it looked like it was pulsing, like it was breathing. And he kept walking until he realized, wow, this was a huge human being called the Stout One. He says, my, you're a big fella. I said, oh, you don't understand. I can really expand myself. You can't imagine how big I can be. He says, it's an interesting quality. I think you should come along with me. So off the two went. Then they came by and they saw somebody who was looking off into the distance. He says, what are you doing? He says, oh, I'm seeing into the ends of the earth. He says, can you see into the witch's court? He says, yeah, I see somebody's head being separated from the shoulders. You should come with me too. So they took the man of great vision. Then, as they were walking, they saw a pair of legs that seemed to go on so far they disappeared into the forest. So they kept on following it. And at the end of it, there was this tall man. He said, boy, you're a tall guy. Oh, you don't know how tall I really am. I can stretch myself hundreds of times more than this. Well, that's an interesting thing. Why don't you come along with us? So now the stout one, the tall one, and the man of vision were going. Then they came, they saw a guy with his ear pressed to the ground. He said, what are you doing? He says, I'm listening. Oh, I can hear anything anywhere across the world. So, yeah, what do you hear? He says, I hear the sound of a sword. whooshing through the air, separating someone's head from their neck. I think you should be another person to come with us. So now they had the man of great hearing. Then, as they're coming, they came across a man with his eyes were bandaged and say, "What's wrong with you? Can we help you take those bandages off?" He says, "No, don't do that. Anytime I look at something without the bandages on, I shatter it into 1,000 pieces." So, that's a very interesting characteristic. Why don't you come along with us too? So now they took the man of piercing gaze with them. And then finally they came along to a man, and this man was shivering. But it was like 80 degrees out. And they said, "I can't believe it. How come you're so cold?" He said, "Oh, you don't understand. When it's hot out, I shiver. And when it's cold out, I get really hot." He said, "Oh, you're the man of tempers. You better come with us also." So now he had his companions, the stout one, the listening one, the tall one, the man of piercing gaze, and the man of tempers. So off they went to the witch's court. He didn't introduce himself as a prince, just someone who wanted to win the hand of the maiden. And the witch said, "No problem. There's just 3 little tests. You do that, you're fine. If not, you understand, you die." He said, "I get it." "Okay, what's the first test?" "I lost my ring," the witch said. "It's at the bottom of the ocean." "No problem. Bring it back to me, and you have the first test done." Well, the man of vision, he looked in and he saw exactly where the ocean was, but no one else could see it but him. So he said, "How do we get to the ocean?" So the stout one said, "No problem." He took himself over to the ocean and he just drank the ocean all up and took it totally into his body till it was dry as could be. And then the man who could see easily saw where it was. The tall one stretched his arm out from where he was to the ring, took the ring, 1, 2, 3, brought it back to the witch and said, "Oh, very interesting. You did that test. All right, the next one isn't so easy. 300 cattle out in the field. I want you to eat all of those cattle, hide, hoof, everything, and then go to the wine cellar and drink every single cask dry. If there's even a drop left, your life is forfeit." He says, "Well, can I have someone come along and eat with me? It's not good to eat alone." He says, "You can have one companion." So again, he asked the stout one, "Are you ready for this?" He says, "Yeah, I'm totally starved." And he went to work, ate all 300 of the cattle, and then went to the wine cellar, drank every single casket there, and then he complained about the paucity of the fare. "I thought you said you were going to give me a meal. That wasn't even a little snack." At this point, the witch was really upset because no one has ever gotten this far. All right, so she said, "Third one is easy. You just can take my daughter up to the tower and gaze in each other's arms. And if you can stay there till 12 o'clock, she's yours." So, this is no test. This is a delight because she was beautiful. And they looked in each other's eyes and there was that tantric gazing. And you could tell they were really connected the way the moonlight was shining in through the tower. So he told his friends, "Listen, guard the door." The tall man wrapped his arms around them multiple times. The stout one stood by the door, and all the other companions were ready for anything. But at 11 o'clock, the witch threw a spell on everybody, and everybody fell asleep, and she whisked the daughter away and tied her to a rock far away from the castle. At 11:45, everybody woke up. The spell was over, and they realized the princess was gone. Where is she? So the man of great hearing, he heard her crying, and the man of great vision saw where they were. So the tall one, with one step, taking the man with piercing gaze with him, stepped out to where the princess was, took the bandage off the man who had the piercing gaze, and they broke the rock that she was chained to. And then in a thrice brought him right back to the tower, and there they were in the tower. And then the witch came in and said, "Now I'm going to kill you." Oh, she's still here. There's something very weird about these guys. So she whispered in the ear of her daughter, "Now listen, you don't know who this guy is. Your royalty, he could be just a commoner. You make a task for him." And she said, "What do you suggest?" And the witch said, "Well, put him in a feast room and we'll burn him." So they decided to light a fire. And excuse me, the princess said to him, "All right, here's the fire. You got to jump in the fire. And if you can survive the fire for me, I'll be yours." He said, "Can someone sit in for me?" And they thought, who's going to sit in for him? Yeah, anybody could sit in. So they put the man of tempers in that fire. In 3 days, the fire blast kept going. At the end of the third day, he was shaking like an aspen leaf. He says, "I would have froze to death if I stayed here any longer." But at this point, what could they do? They had to give up on their claim. So off she went with the prince and his companions. But the witch wasn't satisfied with that, so immediately she sent an army against them. And the man of great hearing saw them coming. The man of great vision saw them coming. And so they turned around to the stout one and said, "Can you help us here?" And so he gave himself the Heimlich maneuver, and he vomited out the whole ocean and drowned everybody. But the witch wasn't satisfied with that, so she sent another army out. So this time, the man of great hearing heard them coming. The man of great vision saw them coming, and they turned to the man of pierced gaze and said, "Your turn." They took off his bandages, and he pierced everybody to smithereens. And at that point, the witch said, "Let it go." Well, the companions finally said goodbye to one another, and the prince took his bride to the village outside of where his palace was, but he told her, "Wait here for a second." And then he went and he told the villagers what was going on, and he came back with some clothes for her and said, "Here, now I can tell you who I am. I'm a swine herder, so put on these clothes because our life is going to be moving pig waste." And at first she said, "That's it?" But he did risk his life for me. So she put on the outfit and took her stance as a swineherder's wife, moving pig waste. Well, this went on for a long time or a short time, whatever time it takes. Then one day the villagers came to her and said, "Where's your husband?" She said, "Oh, he's in the market moving pig waste." "Well, come on, let's go see him." So off they went, but they didn't stop at the market. They went to the palace instead. And they walked right into the palace. At first, she didn't recognize him sitting on the throne because of how he was dressed. But then as she got closer, she realized that same gaze that they had when they were looking at each other in the tower. And there we were. And so she said, "Now I realize who you are." And of course, the marriage feast proceeded, and they lived happily ever after. And that's the companions. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. The next Good Vibrations class is on the 14th from 11 to 1. Go to my website, gabrielhalpern.com, and sign up. Have a great day.